Good morning. This lesson is for my Integrated 1 class, but before I get started, I want to say I hope that everyone's doing all right out there. This is not a specific lesson. This is a series of videos that I'm going to make to hopefully help you out with this video, for example, is about the distance formula. And I'm making this because I'm getting a lot of the same questions from you guys about how to do the distance formula. And I was thinking about the lesson I had you guys watch, and I don't think I taught it very well. So I'll make a video specifically just on using the distance formula, and we'll have two ways to do it, right? We can do it without a picture, or in the second method we'll make a picture. And whatever method you like better, that's the method I want you to use. All right, so I also wrote out some steps to help us know what to do next, like our steps for solving 1 through 6. And hopefully this helps you guys. And again, like all year long, I have no problem with you having the steps next to you as you take my quizzes. I don't get penalized as an adult if I forget something, and I don't think you should either. And guess what? If you do something successfully enough times, you end up memorizing it anyways, right? And I do want to review the Pythagorean theorem with you. This is actually things that we need to know to go through this process, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me get back to this. So our steps to find the distance between 2 points. The first thing we're going to do is find out how far apart the x values are and the y values are. After we figure that out, we call the distance from the x's our a, and our distance from our y's the b. We're going to plug into a squared plus b squared equals c squared, which is the Pythagorean theorem, which we use to calculate diagonal length. After we plug in the a squared plus b squared equals c squared, we simplify and square root both sides. Now, I assume that we know what squares are, but we could have forgotten, or we just never quite understood it. But here's an example of what we say x squared, so it's x to the second power. X squared is equal to x times x. Right? So if I gave you something that was like this, 6 squared, that's 6 times 6. Right? It's a shorter way to write multiplication. And the third thing I want you guys to know is that squares and radicals, or square rooting, squares and square roots cancel each other out. And I didn't erase my example. Not the first time I've done this lesson. I've had to redo this a few times because I was not happy with how I did it. All right, so I have a square and a square root. They cancel each other out, and I'm just left with whatever value was in there. Okay. Now, sometimes we have things that are like this. If I give you the square root of 25, well, you might know that the square root of 25 is 5. So some of these square roots we're going to know. Some of them, like the square root of 21, we're just going to have to leave it as the square root of 21. Because we don't know its exact value, which is fine. All right? I just want to make sure we can get to that place. Okay, so let's go through this first example here. I'm going to write down my 3 steps, right? Because it's a 3-step process. And I'm going to check them off as I go through it. So I want to figure out how far apart my x values are, right? How far apart are 2 and 5? Well, 2 and 5, they're 3 apart. And how far apart are -1 and 4? Let's see here. I owe 1, I have 4, that means I had a swing of $5. So they're 5 apart. Don't worry about the sign. Just tell me how far apart they are. They're 5 apart. And remember, however far apart my x values are, that's my a. However far apart my y values are, that's my b. So my a is 3, and my b is 5. Step 1 is done. Step 2, plug into a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So it's 3 squared plus 5 squared equals c squared. Step 2 done. All right, let's look at step 3. Let's simplify it. 3 squared is like this, so it's 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 plus 5 squared is 5 times 5, that's 25. And that equals c squared. Let's simplify this. 9 plus 25, that's going to get me to 34. 34 equals c squared. All right, we're going to square root both sides. And I know that squares and square roots cancel each other out. And so I'm left with c on that side. But I don't know what the square root of 34 is, so guess what? I'm going to leave it the square root of 34. Okay. All right, so I just did an example. And the way that you're going to get better at this is you're going to try one on your own. Because if you just watch me do these and then you wait to do them on the test for the first time, you're going to struggle with it. So it would be a really good idea when I write the next problem for you to hit pause and try it on your own. So let me erase this. Okay. So why don't you tell me the distance from -3, -2 to, oh, I don't know, 1, 1, 3. All right, so why don't you hit pause, try this one on your own. When you think you got the answer, hit play and let's see if we agree. If we differ in any places, figure out why, and hopefully you understand your mistake and you learn from it. So go ahead and hit pause. All right. All right, so I'm back. Hopefully you tried this on your own, because if you're just watching me, you're going to struggle with it. You got to try things on your own to learn them. All right, so let's go through our steps. Step 1, how far apart are the x values and the y values? How far is it from -3 to 1? Right? -3 to 1, how far apart are they? They're 4 apart. And -2 to 3? Well, that's 5 apart. That's my A. That's my B. All right, step 1. Step 2. Plug in a squared plus b squared equals c squared. All right. So a squared is now, or a is 4, so this is 4 squared plus 5 squared equals c squared. All right, step 2, done. All right, simplify and square root both sides. 4 squared is 4 times 4, that's 16. 5 squared is 5 times 5, that's 25. And that's equal to c squared. 16 and 25 together, that's 41. And that's c squared. I'm going to square root both sides. Remember, squares and square roots cancel each other out. I don't know what the square root of 41 is, but I'm going to leave it like that. So the diagonal length from this point to this point is square root of 41. Okay, that's our answer. I'm going to come back and show you how you can do this visually as a picture. And then hopefully this helps you guys to do the distance formula. But again, as a picture, it's still this concept. So let me clean up a little bit and I'll be back. And yeah, I'll be back. I'm back. So I want to just do the distance formula by putting the points on a graph, making a right triangle, and using that to do my first step. So maybe we're struggling with finding out how far apart the x values are and the y values are. Well, if we put it on a graph, we can count. Now, again, if you like the other method, use that. If you like this method, use this. I don't care. Just make sure you get the right answer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these on a graph and make a right triangle. So use a graph and make a right triangle. And when we make a right triangle, we're finding A and B. Okay. All right, so 4, 1, I go over 4, up 1, and 1, -3 means I go over 1, down 3. So if I connect these dots and I make a right triangle out of it, I just need to count. To go this far over, it's 1, 2, 3. That's my A. Remember, X's are my A's. X value is horizontal, so there's my A. To go from here to here, I need to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's my A. That's my B. The reason we're using the graph, let me say it again, is it's just another way to find A and B. Okay, we're finding out how far apart they are. These are 3 apart. These are 4 apart. It's just a different way to do it. Whatever in golf we say whatever fits your eye, right? Whatever looks easier. So, I forgot to write this. 1, 2, 3. So we did step 1. Step 2, plug it into the formula. So it's 3 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. All right, well, 3 squared, I know that's 3 times 3, so that's 9. And 4 squared is 4 times 4, that's 16. And that's equal to c squared. All right. Oh, I forgot to check off that. Let's simplify this. 9 and 16, that takes me to 25. I simplified it. Now I square root both sides. So the square root of 25 equals the square root of c squared. Well, I know what the square root of 25 is. It's 5. And I know that the square and the square root cancel each other out. And that's c. My diagonal length from this point to that point, from 4, 1 to -1, -3. This diagonal length is 5. Okay. So I'm going to make an example for you to try on your own, and try it. Don't just wait to watch me do it. You're not going to learn if you watch. You learn when you try. All right. Just like, you know how you learned fire was hot? You didn't learn it was hot because someone told you. You tried putting your finger there and you burned yourself. So try it. All right. So let me clean this up, make an example for you, and I'll be back. I'm back, so let's go ahead and try one on your own. So I'd like you to find the distance from -4, 2 to 0, 4. Remember, I want you to use a graph to help you find how far apart the x values are and how far apart the y values are. And then we plug it in and then we simplify. So you try it right now. All right, I hope you tried it. Still can try it. Hit pause and try it. You don't learn by watching, you learn by doing. All right, so here we go. I'm back. All right, here we go. So this is -4, 2. So I go to the left 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I go up 2. There's that guy. And this guy is 0, 4. So I go left 0, right 0. I go up 4. All right, so I'm gonna make my right triangle here. Okay. I need to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And I need to go up 1, 2. Remember, that's my A. That's my B. So it's A squared, which is 4 squared, plus B squared, which is 2 squared. And that equals C squared. Oh, I forgot to do this. 1, 2, and 3. I did step 1. I just did step 2. Let's do step 3. 4 squared is 4 times 4. That's 16. 2 squared is 2 times 2. That's 4. That equals C squared. Let's simplify this. This is 20 equals C squared. Let's square root both sides. And I know that the square and the square root cancel each other out, so that's C. And I don't know what the square root of 20 is, so I'll just leave it. All right, there's my answer. So I really do hope that this helped you guys with the distance formula. I really, really hope that it did. I'm going to make some videos for midpoint, segment addition, and angle addition. So hang in there with me. We'll figure out how to do this. Again, I hope everyone is doing all right out there. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.